Now, let's start with HRRN CPU scheduling algorithm. Highest response ratio next. I repeat, highest response ratio next. So, till now, no question have been asked from this algorithm in the GATE examination, but I expect that this time they may ask because this topic is important. Okay, and don't think that if a question have not been asked since 10 years or 15 years, then definitely it will never come. It's not like that, because it's totally depend upon the professor who are setting the GATE paper. Okay, what actually is going on in their mind. Okay, nobody knows. So that's why from your side, just be well prepared. Don't expect that this question will not come, so I will not study this, I will not study that. Anything can come, then what you will do? Okay, so now let's come to the topic. HRRN, highest response ratio next. So here you see what happens, that here CPU is assigned to the processes which have higher response ratio. Okay, which have higher response ratio. So what's the significance of this? Let me tell you, but before that, just write down the formula of response ratio. Here RR denotes response ratio. It's not round robin. Okay, be careful. Here RR denotes response ratio is equal to W plus B by B. Okay, here I write. Here RR is the response ratio. Response ratio. Fine. And W is the wait time. W is the wait time. And B is the burst time. Burst time means CPU usage time. Fine. So here we will here wait time and burst time will be given, and by putting the value in this formula we will get the response ratio. Okay. So what's the significance of this? From this formula we can analyze something. Okay, just before analyzing, let me tell you theoretically, it favors shortest job, and also it limits the waiting time of the longer jobs. Are you getting it? Here you see from this formula, just see. Here, suppose there is some waiting time. Okay, there is some waiting time, and here you see some burst time is given. Okay, then you see if the job is shorter, it means what? Burst time is less. So here in the denominator part, if the burst time is very less, then definitely the overall value will be higher. Something like that you might have learned in the mathematics, that if denominator is very less than the numerator, then if you divide both numerator and denominator, you will get a high value. So same thing will be happen here. If burst time is very less, then if you just calculate this whole thing, then you will get response ratio very high. Fine. And if the response ratio is high, then CPU will be given to that process which have higher response ratio. Okay. And also, suppose if a job which has higher burst time, okay, it has been waiting for it has been waiting for so long time. Okay, suppose, then you see, then what can happen here? You see, if a longer job with higher burst time comes and it is waiting for a long time, so definitely the waiting time of that longer job will be very high. If the waiting time is very high, okay, you just see, if the waiting time is very high, it means what? The longer job has been waiting since a long time, then the response ratio will also be very high, because in this case the numerator is very high because waiting time is very high. That's why. And if the numerator is higher than the denominator, then definitely you will get higher value if you will divide both numerator and denominator. That thing is happening here. So here, should I rub this? So here some important theoretical points are there. You should write it. Okay. First is, it is non-preemptive scheduling. Non-preemptive scheduling algorithm. Fine. Second thing is that it favors it not only favors shorter, it not only favors shorter jobs, but also limits the waiting time of longer jobs. Okay. And the third point is that you just write down, in terms of response time, it is better than SJF. Okay, I write it. In terms of response time, HRRN is better than SJF. Fine, these are some important theoretical points. Just keep these points in your mind, because now I am going to solve one question. So after solving that question, things will be very clear to you. What is HRRN? Okay. So now let's solve the question. So we have process number as, here I write Pn. Then arrival time given. Then burst time. So process numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And arrival times are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. And burst times given as 3, 6, 4, 5, 2. 3, 6, 4, 5, 2. Okay. So now you see how HRRN algorithm works. So first you draw the Gantt chart. Okay. Okay, here. So you see, at time is equal to 0 second, only process P0 have arrived. Okay. Process P0 have arrived at time 0 second. And since it's a non-preemptive algorithm, so process P0 will run fully for 3 seconds. So P0 is done. Okay. And now you see, within these 3 seconds, how many processes are available? P1, P2 and P3. No, sorry. Only P1, because P2 came at 4th second. So we have P1 left. P1 is available. Here I write P1 is available. Okay. So now, yes. So since P1 is available, so here, except P1, none of the processes are there. So you don't have any other option but to run P1. So here P1 will run for 6 seconds. It means what? 3 to 9. So the task of P1 is also over. So till now HRRN is not yet implemented, and now it will implement. You see at 4th second, 6th second and 8th second. So by the time process P0 and P1 finished, P2, P3, P4 are available. Okay. So P1 is also finished. We have P2, we have P3 and we have P4. All these processes are available. So CPU will be given to which process among P2, P3 and P4? So we have to calculate the response ratio of each process. If the response ratio of a particular process is higher, then the CPU will be given to that process. Fine. So let's calculate. Let's calculate the response ratio of P2. Okay. So here I write here the available processes are P2, P3 and P4. Let's calculate the response ratio of P2. RRP2. It means what? Response ratio of P2. So what was the formula? Wait time plus burst time by burst time. Fine. Is it visible? Okay. So here you see what's the wait time of process P2. So you see process P2 has arrived at 4 seconds. Fine. Process P2 has arrived at 4 seconds, and till 9 seconds process P2 will not get scheduled till 9 seconds. Are you getting it? Although process P2 arrived at 4 seconds, but till 9 seconds process P2 will not get scheduled. That's for sure. Why? Because from 0 to 9 seconds CPU was given to process P0, then process P1. Okay. So what's the wait time of process P2? 9 minus 4, 5. Here I write 9 minus 4. It's a wait time. Okay. Plus. And what's the burst time of process P2? 4 by 4. So here you can calculate 5 plus 4, 9 by 4. 9 by 4 means what? 2.5. Okay, no, it's not 2.5. 9 by 4. It's 2.25. So response ratio of P2 is 2.25. Okay. So it means what? Here if P2 will be given the CPU, then its response ratio will be 2.25. Okay. Now let's calculate the response ratio of P3, RRP3. So what can be the wait time of P3? You see here, P3's arrival time is 6 seconds. And if P3 gets scheduled at this point, at 9 seconds, then how much time P3 will wait? 9 minus 6, 3. Okay. So here I write the wait time, 9 minus 6. Plus, what's the burst time of P3? 5 by 5. So here we will get 9 minus 6, 3. So 5 plus 3, 8 by 5. So what's 8 by 5? 5 1 5. 1.6 I guess. Yes. So now let's calculate the response ratio of P4. So why we are calculating the response ratio of P2, P3 and P4? Because by the time process P0 and P1 completed, these three processes are available, P2, P3 and P4. Okay. So let's calculate the response ratio of P4. Fine. So you see the arrival time of P4 is 8, and just think, if CPU will be given to process P4 at this time, it means what? At 9th second. Then how much time process P4 will wait? Since its arrival time is 8 and CPU will be given if at 9, then the wait time of process P4 will be 9 minus 8, 1. 9 minus 8, 1. Plus what's the burst time? 2 by 2. So it will be 3 by 2, 1.5. Okay. So you see here I have calculated the response ratio of all the three processes, P2, P3 and P4. And you see which process has the highest response ratio? Process P2, it's 2.25. And process P3 has 1.6 and process P4 has 1.5. So definitely processor will be given to process P2. Okay, so here I will write process P2. Okay. And since it's a non-preemptive scheduling algorithm, so process P2 will complete its 4 seconds. So 9 plus 4, 13. Now at this point, which process will be given the CPU? So now the available processes are P3 and P4 because P2 is already done. Okay. So here we have to calculate the response ratio of P3 and P4. Okay. So now just think, the arrival time of process P3 is 6. Okay. And if the process P3 is, and if the CPU is given to process P3 at this time, at 13 seconds, then for how much time process P3 would have to wait? 13 minus 6. Okay. So it will be 13 minus 6 plus, what's the burst time? 5. 5 by 5. So it will be 13 minus 6, 7 plus 5, 12 by 5. So it will be 2.4. Fine. Okay. Now let's calculate the burst time of process P4. The arrival time of process P4 is 8. If the process P4 is scheduled at this time, it means what? The process P4 is scheduled at 13 seconds. Then what will be the waiting time of process P4? 13 minus 8, 5. So here I will write 13 minus 8. And what's the burst time of process P4? 2, then plus 2 by 2. So it will be 7 by 2. 13 minus 8, 5 plus 2, 7 by 2, it means 3.5. So you see, among process P3 and P4, which process has the higher response ratio? Process P4, it's 3.5. So here CPU will be given to process P4. Okay, and process P4 will run fully for 2 seconds. It means what? 13 plus 2, 15. And after that, since process P4 is done, we have only process P3 left. So no need to further apply any algorithm because only process P3 is there. So after that, CPU will be given to process P3 and it will run for 5 seconds. Okay. So this is all about higher response ratio next. It means what? The process which has the higher response ratio is getting the CPU first. Okay. It's not very difficult. It's a very easy concept. You just have to memorize the formula. And whatever important point was there, I have already told you. What was that? It favors shortest job, but it also limits the waiting time of the longer job. It means what? Here the process will never wait for too long. Here there will be no starvation. Okay, because you know in SJF algorithm, the longer jobs were suffering from starvation problem, but here if the waiting time of longer jobs became higher and higher, then it's a task of HRRN algorithm to limit the waiting time, so that the CPU will be given to that process having the larger burst time. Okay, and also it favors the shorter jobs. Okay, so that's all with HRRN algorithm. Thank you.